So please put your hands together for Mr. Randy M. Knudsen, the President of DynaQuest Technology.
Hello. My name is Randy Knudsen, and I'm the founder and CEO of DynaQuest. We provide blockchain solutions for emerging markets, and I wanted to talk to you today about one of our major projects, the Karaga Convergence Initiative. And what the Karaga Convergence Initiative is to provide an economic development solution for the indigenous people of Karaga. And we want to put it on the blockchain, include digital identity. The Karaga region is located in the southern island of Mindanao in the Philippines, in the northeast section, which is called the Karaga region. It's about 2 million hectares in size and has several million indigenous people in this region. The Philippines itself has over $1 trillion in natural resources, with a large portion of that residing on indigenous people land. Back in the late 90s, the government gave the land back to indigenous people for them to take over. And so a lot of the natural resources reside in these lands, but unfortunately, there's been little opportunity for the people to be able to develop on the land. And there's been a number of obstacles and barriers. Certainly identity has been the major barrier. Without an identity, from the government standpoint, you don't exist. So you really have a little access to the traditional services and amenities that are provided with you, but that then cascades into a number of other factors that have contributed to that. So largely, a lot of the natural resources in these areas are still in these regions and haven't been developed. Within the scope of our project, we have 500,000 indigenous people that are unregistered and undocumented and have no identity. And consequently, with no identity, they have limited access to the traditional social, economic, and government programs and services that are available to the other citizens. With limited access, that means limited benefits of any of those social programs. But most importantly, it's been limited access to the economic development. So there's been a lack of access to get the funds, to get the equipment, and get the knowledge available to develop these resources. Up until now, that they've had that limited access with limited benefits and limited economic potential up until now. Let me show you just a short video to introduce you to the people of the Karaga region.
As an economist, I learned what it takes to do a big project. It's easy enough to organize the financing, the technology, to do $1 billion infrastructure project. But what does it take to touch the lives of small people? Then I met Sultan Julius. He was the leader of a rising tribal nation, 8 million people with ownership of about 5 million hectares. He and I worked together to establish the Indigenous People Economic Union as a strategy for unifying these people and the resources that they have.
We are descended from a proud civilization. We believe that we can move forward as one united tribal nation and modern, productive citizens of the world.
My name is Brian Thomas. Recently, I joined forces with GPF and the Global Action Platform, and together we created the Global Partnership for Sustainable Solutions. We have become the exclusive representatives of the Indigenous Peoples Economic Union. Together we're committed to the economic, educational, and environmental development of the indigenous lands in the Caraga region.
My dream of my country is to have self-empowerment and self-determination.
This could actually relaunch the building of our nation,
which will become a model for the rest of the Philippines and the world.
We need you in our march to progress and prosperity.
So that gives you a little bit of a picture and a visualization, more than just slides, the real people of the Caraga region. But more importantly, the Global Platform for Sustainable Solutions, or GPSS, is actually the founding organizer, and they have a 25-year exclusive rights for the development of the natural resources and the economy in this region. And so they've put together, they talked about there in the video, the Indigenous People Economic Union, and that will act as the governing body for the 24 tribes that are represented in the scope of the project. And they also will be providing the funding and resources for that project. So the intent is to build a new economy, a digital economy on blockchain for inclusive and sustainable growth in the region, and providing the funding for that through an STO offering. So we'll be using the assets of the region to back up the STO as part of that as well. And building that again on a blockchain solution, so you'll be able to provide trust and transparency, and also improve the efficiency through smart contracts, through the supply chain and logistics channels. And certainly, identity is the foundation and the first step in building that new economic community. And that identity will be tied to the national ID program in the Philippines. We have the PhilSys ID that was just passed into law last year, and will start implementation by the end of this year. In our timeline, we're looking to get started this year with our first land use planning workshop. We'll be working with the local government agencies to identify the proper sustainable land use plan for each one of the tribal areas. And we'll also be putting together a technology framework and identifying the partners that will be participating in building the platform long term. And we should be started in the first half of next year with our first two projects, which will be fiber and timber, the first two cash crops that we'll start with the harvesting. And by the second half of the year, we should be able to add a couple of more programs. There's about 23 programs, verticals that are set up to evolve over time. Some are short-term cash, some are long-term development and more sustainable type of solutions. And then certainly beyond the 1920 will continue to go forward. What did I do? And of course, it's not possible to do any program on this size and scale without your partners, GPSS, Global Action Platform, and our technology partner, Traction. So the program is going to be bringing Caraga to the world and develop an economic model that's going to be built on the blockchain, that's going to bring trust, transparency, and efficiency, and deliver the resources that Caraga have to the rest of the world. Thank you.